bodies beat by the window seat. Little eyes look high up into blues and stars. I wanna surrender to those cosmic skies, whispering spells about what it means to be wise. There's glittering whites and shooting comets, milky bands that speak golden sonnets, intergalactic Janet from another planet.
Hey you, welcome to Dricka Necole's universe. I am Dricka Necole, your spiritual advisor, and welcome back you guys to my universe. I hope the portal in felt good. Let's get ready to clear our minds for the message that we will be receiving today, because this one is going to be very triggering. I was actually a little hesitant if I should talk about this or not, but I don't know. I feel like I need to talk about it because there's a lot of misunderstandings, when it comes to anything regarding spirituality or the fifth dimension. Honestly, anything that is otherworldly, anything that, is not of this bottom world called Earth. There's just a lot of misunderstandings. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of reading. I hear people talking about things and saying things, and it just because I am who I am, it just kind of puts me in this place where it's just like, yeah, that's not entirely true. But at the same time, I can't necessarily deviate another person from, what they believe to be true, because again, we all have our own individual truth. But I will say, as your favorite spiritual advisor, my job is to help clear up some of those misunderstandings for the ones that are open to actually learning more about certain situations, learning the truth. Okay, I am a seer, which means I am a truth seer and I'm a truth speaker. Okay, so there needs to be some clearing up. Okay, there needs to be some clearing up, because what I want to discuss and introspect with you guys today is sleep paralysis. I know. I know that many of us have experienced an event or two of, this scary case of sleep paralysis. And, I myself have firsthand experienced it myself. I've read different articles, different threads of people who have also experienced it. And I've spoken with just a small group, a small select people who have also experienced sleep paralysis. And, I was able to get a glimpse of what their experience is like. And the first thing I want to say is that, yes, it is a bit scary. It is scary, okay? But first and foremost, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Why is it even called sleep paralysis? Well, it's called sleep paralysis because your body appears to be paralyzed while you appear to be asleep, yet you're awake. And, I think this is what is initially scary about the experience for those who have had the experience, because you know yourself to be asleep. Sometimes you don't even know you went to sleep. So in some cases you find yourself confused, like, did I go to sleep or did I not go to sleep? But in some cases, you know yourself to be asleep. You absolutely are aware that you're asleep, yet you are consciously awake to know and feel your body's inability to move. And from my own personal experience and hearing from other people's experiences, your body's not able to move due to this idea, right, that you're being held down. Something is held down. I've even heard from somebody that it felt like, something or someone was sitting on their chest. Like they had a lot of pressure on their chest, as if something or somebody was like sitting on their chest. So, as I've expressed in a previous episode, which episode was it? I can't think of which episode it was right now, but I know I had expressed in a previous episode that, I've been experiencing such spiritual encounters, spiritual interactions since like the age of 5, from what I can consciously remember. However, sleep paralysis is an event that I haven't had in a long time. I will say that. I used to kind of get them a little often when I was younger, but that was when the astral projecting kind of started. So it's been a long time since I had an actual sleep paralysis event. In fact, if I can recall, my last experience may have been while I was in high school, because I definitely don't recall experiencing it during my college days. Yeah, so anywho, it's been a long time. It's been a really long time for me. In fact, I know my last one was in high school because I remember being in college when my little sister, who I think she was already done with high school, because we were literally right behind each other in age. She was already done with high school, and I never forget this. She called me. It was like 12 o'clock in the morning. She called me in tears. I mean, in distress about her sleep paralysis event. Like it was 12. I never forget. It was like 12 something o'clock in the morning, because I was awake. I think I was drawing. I was doing something. I was awake when she called, and I remember it was 12. Like I remember it being 12. I don't remember as far as like the minute, but I know the hour. It was 12. It was 12 a.m. And yeah, she was in distress about her sleep paralysis experience, and she just, she was not for that experience. I low-key felt bad because, I was laughing. I was laughing, as she was boohoo crying, telling me about like what happened. It was just fun. She's like, Dricka, I was asleep. She'll probably kill me if she finds this. I was asleep and somebody was holding me. Like she was very much so in distress about it. And yeah, I was kind of laughing. I was kind of laughing because it was kind of funny. But she was terrified. She was so terrified. And honestly, like I said, it is scary. So I couldn't blame her, because my first experience, I was terrified as well. I just didn't tell anyone about it. Right? Honestly, I didn't tell anyone about the things that I experienced spiritually growing up. And when I tried to tell one of my siblings about the paranormal activity that I was experiencing, this was like well after the fact though. This was well after I had already experienced it, and I felt like I had, surpassed it. It wasn't happening anymore. But when I tried to tell her about it, she was like, no, I'm not want to hear that. Don't tell me nothing about that. So really, the podcast, you guys, as my listeners, are really getting firsthand notice to, or insight to the spiritual encounters that I have had. I have told some people that I felt comfortable enough to share with them about them. So I've had opportunity. I've had opportunities where I've told a select few people, but not a lot of people. But for you guys will be also knowing about these experiences, because it's important to know these experiences, because again, there's a lot of misunderstandings around these experiences. But I do want to share with you guys my most recent sleep paralysis experience, primarily because it was a little different from what I could last recall from my previous experience. I also think that I handled it very much differently. So, I'm here, I'm in my new place. It's kind of like a studio-ish style apartment, very New Yorky style. But I'm here in my new place, and it kind of dawned on me the first time I heard something out of the ordinary. Because this is one of the things that I experienced, during my paranormal activity experience, which went on from kindergarten up until middle school. But I think it didn't really end until like freshman high school, if I really remember. I don't think that I didn't really stop encountering anything until like freshman year in high school. But it just dawned on me. It just dawned on me that I'm hearing stuff. And I'm like, it kind of has me a little nervous. It has me a little anxious, because again, I haven't been having these experiences since it ended in a high school, freshman year of high school. So I just ignored it. Ignoring it is something that I did when I first experienced hearing noises and things like that. Because I learned that to not entertain it. I learned to not give it attention, because especially when you're having paranormal activity experiences. Paranormal activity experience, at least for my paranormal activity experience, I was actually dealing with a demonic spirit. And being a kid that was so much into scary movies, I love scary movies. But the main reason why, and nobody knows this, the main reason why I love scary movies is because I experienced some of these things firsthand. And so I was learning from these movies. And the movies that I learned the most from was Insidious, Conjuring, those movies where they had the husband and wife. I can't think of their names right now, but anywho, I believe it was in Insidious when the son, came into an encounter with the demon, and there was the old lady who helped them with the situation. And I think it was Conjuring, where there was the husband and wife who, worked with people who came across demonic spirits and things like that. And I never forget, there was one scene, I think it's in Conjuring, but there's one scene in the movie where he's listing the different phases of he's going over the different phases of oh my goodness, why am I having a mind freeze? Of I think it's possession. I can't think of the word right now. I don't know why I can't think of the word right now. But he's going over the different phases of it. And the first phase is when they're doing things to get your attention. And when I learned about that, I was like, oh. So I started to ignore the sounds that I was hearing, because one of the things that he mentioned was not giving it attention. Every time you give it attention, you're feeding into it, right? It's already bad enough that I'm feeling fearful of whatever it is that I'm having this encounter with, because that too is consuming that fear. So something that I felt like worked for me was just ignoring it, not even giving it any type of attention, trying to keep my cool and trying not to be too fearful of it. So, there comes this one point at night where I'm here, I'm in my bed, and, I knew for certain that I had fallen asleep. because I fell asleep on my back. I've been sleeping a lot on my back lately, but I also realized that when I do sleep on my back, I do tend to astral project a lot. And that's something that's been, occurring since I was a kid. So I kind of picked it up when I sleep on my back. I do tend to astral project a lot. So I know for certain I have fell asleep because I fell asleep on my back. My feet was crossed, right? My feet was crossed. My hands was on my stomach, and I find myself awakened to the sound of my front door. Mind you, I told you y'all, I live in like a studio-ish like apartment. I'm not like back in my home, back in my hometown where, my room is, on this side of the house. Even though, yes, I could still kind of hear the door, but it's, my room is still a few walks away. Well, here, it's a studio light, so you literally just walk right on through. So I hear things very closely to my bedroom. So I hear my front door open. I hear footsteps walking into the apartment, coming close to my door. Now, my doors to my bedroom are the slide doors. You literally just pull them apart, pull them into close, pull them apart, whatever. My door is suddenly open. Now, mind you, I can't move. Okay, this is the encounter that we have with sleep paralysis experiences where we can't move. We feel like somebody's holding us down. I can't move. I can only move my eyes, so I'm kind of like looking around my room to see if I can see anything or see anyone, because at this point I am kind of starting to panic just a little bit. There's a blurry figure that walks into my room and stands like in the corner of my room next to my bed. Mind you, I'm laid flat on my back, so I can't move to like necessarily look at it, but I can see it, like my peripheral, like I can see it. And the blurry figure, if you look at some of my artwork, for those of you who have seen my artwork, if you haven't seen my artwork, feel free to visit my virtual art gallery on Instagram. It's at Dricka's DRICK .Necole's NECOLES .gallery, and you will see some of my artwork there. And I also showcase my artwork on the cover of my YouTube threads, the podcast. You should be able to see my artwork. But anywho, it looked like the figures that I draw, because these are what I've seen. So it's something I've seen, I'm familiar with. The only thing is that it wasn't as brightly, like it didn't shine as brightly. It was kind of dim. Grayish, blackish, grayish looking. And I think that's kind of one thing that really made me nervous, because I'm just thinking to myself, like, is this another encounter with a demonic spirit? Like, am I really being attacked? But I really tried to keep my cool. Like, my heart immediately started pumping. I know that for sure. My heart started really pumping. I felt like a tear fall down because I was nervous. Like, I didn't know if I was having another demonic encounter, right? And again, it's been so long since I had a sleep paralysis experience. I really didn't know. I wasn't too sure what was going on. But I tried to keep myself calm. I was talking to myself in my head, to myself, it's okay, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong. I'm okay, I'm safe. Like, I just kept repeating that in my head. And it went on within a matter of seconds. Like, I would probably say like 25 to 30 seconds, all of this happened. Collectively, all of this happened, So I kind of got myself under control, and then, again, in a matter of seconds, I felt relief, I felt released from the hole that I was in. The figure was gone, and I kind of just naturally like fell back into sleep mode. It was very strange. It was very strange. When I woke up the next day, you know, I kind of felt like how I felt when I would astral project. It kind of felt like I didn't sleep, like I was awake all night, but like I'm not tired, like I don't feel restless, but it's just like, did I go to, like literally I found myself like, did I go to sleep? But I vividly remembered exactly what I had experienced, which is how I'm able to let you guys know now. I had to document it. When I woke up, I immediately documented it. So, you know, in experiences such as astral projection or sleep paralysis, because honestly, I do think that sleep paralysis happens before you can astral project. It happens, and the only reason I noticed because when I had my first encounter around 4 or 5 years old, I had a sleep paralysis event encounter. And then from there, I guess because I was curious, I kind of was just like, okay, what's going on? And I kind of just let it be. I started astral projecting. So I do believe that you have to experience, not that you have to experience, but again, I think it's common that you're going to experience because you're scared. So you're going to experience what we call sleep paralysis before you can astral project. But in a way, when you have such an experience of, you know, astral projection and sleep paralysis, when you feel this way as if like you asleep, but you wasn't asleep, yet you wake up and you don't feel like you actually slept, yet you don't feel like you was tired. I've learned that this is because you actually were awake the entire night. You were actually awake the entire night. What happened is that your spirit drifted off or drifted out of your physical body, you know, your 3D vessel here, to explore the fifth dimension or to explore other dimensions. It's not just the fifth dimension. You left your body to go explore, to go travel. And this is technically time traveling. This is a part of time traveling. So if you think that time traveling is false, well, sorry to burst that belief bubble, but time traveling is a real thing. They didn't make these movie, you know, time travel movies. Those are from like those are like legit. You do have the ability to time travel. Now, can you time travel by making like a machine? That part I don't know. But yes, you are time traveling when you leave your physical body behind to go explore other realms. And with sleep paralysis, you know, it can be it's often perceived as if you are being attacked. You know, I've seen where in articles where, you know, people stated that they felt as if they were being sexualized while under sleep paralysis. So I'm not going to say if that's false. And the reason I'm not going to say that that is false, because I also understand that our experiences are unique to, you know, us all. And I also know that actual demonic spirits, from personal experience, from having my paranormal activity experience, my paranormal encounters, I also know that demonic spirits will utilize your sleep time to interfere with your spirit, and or the physical body. Because when we are asleep, we are vulnerable to such interactions. We are vulnerable. So I'm not to say that those experiences are false or not, because they might have happened. They might have happened. But I will say that going to sleep is honestly, it's one of the easiest ways to access the spirit realm. Because yes, you are leaving your physical body. It's just like meditating, right? You can have an out-of-body experience in different ways, and our time for sleeping is actually one of those most common ways of doing so. So because many people are fearful and don't like their experience of sleep paralysis and even astral projection, because again, most times you have to undergo that sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis comes before you are able to astral project, because sleep paralysis is like a doorway. It's a test. It's a test to see if you will allow your spirit to actually travel. But with us, feeling as if we're not having the best experience of it all, we demonize it, right? We say it's bad. We talk down on it, and that's something that I've actually learned, about us as people, as human beings. When we are so quick to dislike something, there's a good chance that this is due to the fact that we don't understand something or someone, because we do it to other people as well. We don't understand them. We don't understand it. And because we don't understand it, or we don't understand them, we criticize them. We mock them. We demonize them. And, we belittle them. And as a result, this is why so many people hide different parts about themselves. Or again, don't speak about certain things because it's been demonized. Sleep paralysis is not an experience that is meant to influence a person to feel as if they are being attacked, although it may appear in that manner. And it appears in that manner because you woke up in between two worlds. You woke up when your spirit was just beginning to drift out, to drift away from your physical body. The overall experience is to help push you to embrace the ability to travel outside of your physical body. And here's the thing, the way that I see it is, if you're a person that can actually say out of your mouth that you've had a sleep paralysis encounter, that is an instant indication that you came into contact with the spirit realm. You think that you're being punished or abused in your sleep when you're really being initiated to let yourself drift off into the spirit realm. You are being given the opportunity to travel through the universe. Traveling through the universe it's a luxury. It's a luxury because you get to unlock different parts of who you are. You get to go off to remember who you were in your past life, right? You get to go off to find so many answers to things that you may have been confused about. All of this is to understand who you are today and why you are here. What is it that you are meant to complete and to fulfill on your current journey here on this 3D realm, here on this earth. Our bodies can't move Because again, we are caught in between two worlds. We're caught in the physical world and we're caught in the spiritual realm. It's like we're caught in a portal, like threshold. A part of you is still touching the astral plane or the spiritual realm, but again, you've woken up. You've woken up in the midst of your spirit drifting out of your physical body. So now also a part of you is tethered to your physical body. You know how the babies think of the baby inside the womb. You know how the umbilical cord is connected to the mother? Think of it like that. Think of it like that. Except the baby is your spirit, and then the mother, where the umbilical cord is still is attached, the mother is your physical body. Think of it like that. While you were asleep, your spirit was drifting off and you woke up in the middle of it. So now you're caught and you're stuck. Now you start panicking. You panicking, trying to move your body. Because yes, you scared. You woke up because you realized what was happening. It scared you. It shocked you. Right? And so moving your body is like you trying to regain control of the situation. When in reality, you can't really control some. Well, in a way you kind of can. In a way you kind of can. But your spirit is ready. Your spirit is ready to travel off. It's not to say you're dying just yet. You're not dying. It's just in that moment when you are sleeping, your spirit was ready to drift off, to go unlock certain things, to just go travel outside of the physical body. And you waking up and fighting, to come back into fully conscious with your physical body is preventing that from happening. When all your spirit is trying to get you to do, all the universe is trying to get you to do is surrender to it. Don't be afraid of it. And honestly, and I'm going to just be frank, honestly, I think this is why a lot of us end up like societal slaves and spirit deprived, because we keep fighting and resisting the many ways the universe calls out to our spirits. I've said this before. We cannot see God, the Most High, although yes, some of us are gifted with the ability to be able to see things, but not necessarily not see, God, because God is the essence of energetic flow. However, we can hear, but more than anything, we feel when God, the Most High, the universe, Yahshua, Yahweh, Krishna, Jesus, as some people call him, we can feel the presence because it communicates directly to our spirit. But when we keep, resisting the fact of the universe, it's just like my episode where I talked about answering to your soul's calling. We keep ignoring it. We're choosing to be ignorant, right? And you wonder why so many of us keep, going to church. Not to say there's anything wrong with going to church. Please don't misunderstand me. But I do see many of us are going to church and trying to find a sense, or a connection with God, the Most High, that is outside of themselves, because we are scared to see it within ourselves. Again, I'm not trying to belittle anybody's experience here, because yes, sleep paralysis, astral projecting, it is scary. It is scary. Especially when it's your first time. It's going to be scary. That's anything. That's any new changes in your life. Anything that's new to you. It's going to be scary. But you're going to be always provided with the option. And the way I see it is, some cases you have to allow your curiosity to outweigh the fear, like I did. But then again, I don't know. I've been having these experiences since I was very young. And when you're young and vulnerable like that, a lot of us as children, we are very curious. But then again, a lot of us as children, we learn fear very early on, because fear is taught. Fear is man-made. So a lot of us as children, we learn fear head on early on in life. But me, I don't know. You have to just allow the curiosity to outweigh the fear. You have to. If this is something you truly desire for yourself. Right? I'm only speaking to those that truly desire to learn how to go within themselves, how to gain a more divine connection with, Christ consciousness, the Most High, however you like to identify. This is only for those who are truly open to that. Because if you're not, you're going to continue to resist certain experiences like this. You're going to continue to keep fighting these experiences. Right? And honestly, for those who actually allow themselves to let their spirit have that freedom to travel and go beyond the physical body, you might think it's cool. I still think it's cool. In fact, I think it's so cool to the fact that I've even had to learn to not get so caught up in astral projecting, because now I got to a point where I knew exactly how to do it. But I found myself having an issue with balancing the real world from the astral world, because they kind of look the same in a way, but not really. And growing up as a kid, I would stay in the astral worlds, the spirit realm, so much because I felt safe there. My physical world, I was dealing with abuse and things like that. So I used the spiritual world as an escape, right? As a form of escape from my 3D experience. And I still found myself doing that throughout my life. Every time I found myself in an overwhelming situation, or, just dealing with something that I did not like, I would escape to the spiritual world, and that's just not always the case to do. So don't do that. But you'll probably find that it's kind of actually cool, but if you really allow yourself to open up to it. You come across so many different places and you meet so many people. I'd share this experience with you guys. I actually had a dream one time where I astral projected and I met I had an encounter with Michael Jackson. Some people gonna say this is fake. Haters will say that this was fake. But no, this is real. I had to document this as well in my dream journal. I had an encounter with Michael Jackson. He was in his Thriller outfit. So that let me know he had to be around like 23, 24. I was 26 at the time I had this dream. Yes, I was 26 when I had this dream. And all I can remember hearing him say, because he was talking to me at first, but I couldn't hear him saying anything until I got closer to him. When I got closer to him, he was smiling at me and he was so happy to see me. When I got closer to him, he just kept saying, just be creative. Just be creative. Just keep creating. Just be creative. In his soft voice, he kept repeating it to me. And I never forget, I woke up and just like, because I've always wanted to meet I love Michael Jackson. Been a fan of Michael Jackson since I was toddler. Like, I remember standing in front of the TV when his music videos was playing. I think it was like the MTV TV show. It was some music TV show where they would play different music videos and things like that. So I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson. Boohoo cried when I found out he was there. I was like in elementary school. Boohoo cried when I found out that man passed away. And I've always wanted to meet him in real life. So when I had that dream and I woke up and I was just like, wow, like I almost cried because of how real it felt. But it was real because indeed in that moment I was awake. I was outside of my body to have that encounter with him. And for him to tell me just so clear as day. Just be creative. Just keep being creative. You'll really be surprised of the things that you see, the secrets that you come across, the things that you learn, the things that you begin to unlock within your DNA. You come across so much if you just allow your spirit to just travel, to just do what it needs to do. It's not that it wants to do, even though yes, it wants to do these things, because that's the assignment of the spirit, right? It's the assignment of the spirit, but also at the same time, it needs to do these things for the sake of you and your physical vessel, right? The spirit is under direct divine assignments from God the Most High. So the spirit is only doing what Christ consciousness is directing it to do. But you in your physical realm, in your physical body, you can restrict the spirit in so many ways. I think I had made a post about this. We exhaust, we tire out our spirits by doing stupid stuff, not doing certain things. Like, this is a real thing. This is a real situation. So when you find yourself having a sleep paralysis experience, let your spirit do what it needs to do, because I promise you, it's doing it for you. It's an experience that is for you. Let yourself travel outside of your body. Tell yourself that you are safe, because you are. You're not being attacked. But be discerning, because some people be discerning. But in some cases, I will tell you, you are not being attacked. You are safe. You are safe. You are here. You are now. Trust the universe, because the universe only wants you to spiritually expand beyond this physical realm. Thank you guys for tuning in with me today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.